Right then, so a very quick quick run through of Stellaris, or my understanding of the game so far. So, this is my home planet, and I'll just run through what the screen shows me right now. So we have my home planet. On my home planet, if I can click on it, and this little robot pops up and tells me about stuff all the time. Okay, so on this tab here, so it's telling me that similar to Civ, so if it's a town, it's making a +2 food production right now, producing 10 and consuming 8, so that means the population will grow. It's also producing these, so it's producing energy, minerals, food, science, physics, society and engineering, and this is the leader of that planet. The leaders, you can employ different ones or sack them, or most often replace them when they die, because as time progresses people die. So that's that tab. Service tab, as the robot says. Right, so each of these tiles, obviously, so in this one I've got a power plant, this one I think that's my home, sort of a capital city kind of thing. There's a mine there, that's a power plant as well. Power plant, that's the planetary administration, that's kind of the capital city. Power plant, and so you build on all the different tiles. You can also drag people around, so let's say this guy, if he's working on a farm here to make the 2, if I wanted to get that engineering research instead, I could just drag the guy and put him there instead, so that affects what the planet makes. I have armies, just shut this guy up. So armies, I haven't used this too much so far, but you can sort of recruit ground forces to protect your planet and also to help invade other planets. But I'll come back to this one a little bit, but I don't know too much about this really. And then there's the spaceport. Thanks. So here is where, so we can build spaceships. So we've got corvettes, which are very basic. Well, they're kind of like your grunt of the army kind of thing. I've researched a few more bits, so I've got destroyers, which are kind of a lot better than corvettes. There are bigger classes as well as you progress through the age and research more. Then you've got construction ships, which build things. They're essentially like your workers in Civ. They enhance your resource collection. Science ships go out and discover new things, and spaceship upgrades is to build better things, and colony ship helps you colonize other planets. So that's the essentials of a single planet. Now, if I notice that I've got this on pause in the top right here, so it's nothing too much is going to happen right now. If I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that, so on this planet I've got a spaceport, that's where I'm actually building my other ships. I zoom out a little bit more and I get to basically my system view. So this is that system. So here I have the sun is making 2 energy credits, and so I have a mining station here to essentially collect those energy credits. Over here on this moon, that is generating engineering research, and so that's what this research station is doing here, picking up that. So that's about all that's going on in this particular system. Also I have a little fleet here of my army, so you can see here that's just essentially 6 ships, which you can sort of get to move around, but of course I don't need to unpause it. And they fly around. Oh. So because I've unpaused it, something's just happened. Science officer has leveled up. Great. Good for her. I like the little the buttons in this. It's not just OK, it's usually a sarky comment of some kind. So I'm going to pause that again. So that's essentially just that one system, but of course there's a lot more to it than this. So down here we can switch to the galaxy map. So that is the Yadra system. If I click onto it, that is the Yadra star, and that's the Yadra system. I go back out to the galaxy view, and you can see that Yadra is one system. I also own this Botine system, Gotara, Tem. These are planets. This one, because I've got that symbol there, that is my that means that I've got a colonised planet there. The same with Botine, which in Civ terms is kind of like creating a new what's he called? A guy who'll just go away and find another city. So that's what's happened here. And then also, because of this whole blue area is essentially my borders, so I also have a few other systems in my borders that I don't have a colonised planet on, such as Zarim, Lendine and Bariban. Suth I do have a colonised planet on. Fonarch here I could have a colonised planet on, hence that green world, but I don't currently. And I have a ship in that system as well, hence the green ship. The numbers underneath each system represent the resources that I can get. If they're green, which they are here, that means I'm already collecting those resources. So if I click into Suth, for example, we can see that there's my 2 minerals being collected by a mining station attached to this asteroid. Oh, and the energy credits on Suth are coming from this planet here, and the mining station now. So that's that kind of view there. And so then, as you play through the game, you get various missions and quests to do things. If I check my situation, so up here, if I run through the top left now, so you have your government. When you first create your race at the very start of the game, which I haven't covered on this little video, is you pick not only what they look like, whether they're humanoid or molluscoid or reptilian or whatever, or a giant fungus. You pick all their traits. So I have picked for my race, I have picked that we're xenophile, militaristic and materialist. I don't really know what all these really mean. I mean xenophile seems to be good just to get on with other races better. Militaristic just because obviously having a better army than other people is a good idea. Materialist, I don't really know what difference that makes. I mean, it's got some numbers on the screen there, but until I've played the game a bit, I don't know how much of a difference they'll make. You also set your things about your race. So for example, I set my government type to be this military junta, which basically means that you can see my next election is in the year 2240. You can see currently I'm in the year 2234. And I'm pretty sure that I actually set it to be, like, I've obviously played quite a few years already to have reached this point, so I'm quite sure that my leaders, so this is my leader, this Galdric Den Iridar, you can see is 64, so he'll be sort of 70 by the time the next election comes around. And the elections, I choose them to only happen every 40 or 50 years. Depending on your government type, you can set that to be every 4 years, or proper democracy, or you could just set it to never happen, if you want a little bit more of a kind of overbearing regime. So that's the government tab. Budget, simple. Alright, shut up. So that's telling us what I'm making in terms of energy credits and what we're spending a lot on. I'm obviously not doing very well at this point. Policies, shut up. Haven't really looked into these too much. A lot of these are selected at the start of the game, or are become default settings simply based on how you chose your race. There are edicts that you can uncover throughout the game, which I haven't enacted any of them because they cost influence. I'll touch on influence in a minute. Demographics. To be honest, I've never looked at this tab, but it tells me just that my reptilian race is intelligent and is also ocean preference. So I prefer to colonize on planets that have a lot of water. So as you send your science vessels out, just to go back to that, you send your science vessels out to explore new systems. So you can see down here, this system, for example, is kind of greyed out, so that means I haven't surveyed it. And of course all these other ones are greyed out. The different colours means it's a different race that are in these areas. So my science vessel has explored these ones so far. That's what science vessels do. The construction ships are the ones that actually build these kind of things, like the mining stations, etc. In fact, in this system here, I think what we'll see is I have another army there, which is made up of a couple of different ships. Yeah, but obviously a science vessel needs to finish exploring this system because we've got some planets that are explored. And it's white and they have resources, but these ones... In fact, this is a science ship right here who is in the middle of researching this planet, and then we'll move on to these ones in time. Right. So just to go back up to the top here, the key resources in the game are energy credits, as we've seen. Minerals. You need minerals to make new ships and mining stations and everything, basically everything. Influence. Influence you only make, as you can see, +2. This is basically per month throughout the game. So it's not turn-based, it is real-time, but it kind of acts like a turn-based game. It's almost like you +2 per turn, but it's per month in this, which isn't a lot. But it's sometimes when you can spend influence on things. So you saw the influence being spent on edicts and on the government tab. Of course, if I enacted an edict or two, then that would change my influence back down to +2, back down to 0. So I'd be making none. When you build certain things such as a military outpost, which I may have one on this system, yeah, so frontier outpost here, to build one of these, which helped me expand my borders to the north here. To build one of them cost about 150 or 200 influence points, so you can't obviously do too many of them. Or if you do, you build one and then have to wait several years before you have enough points to be able to build another. But that helps expand your borders and eventually collect more resources and have other systems that have potentially habitable planets within your borders. You can't colonize, you can't build mining stations and research stations on a planet that isn't in your borders. So if I tried to go to Trinic here to collect those 2 energy credits, I wouldn't be able to. So the only way I'd be able to do that would be to expand my borders, either with a frontier outpost, or preferably by finding a planet nearby that I could colonize, and then my borders would expand around those planets as well. So that's influence. Then also you have physics, society and engineering. These 3 I believe are mostly collected from your science stations on a planet. So if I go back to my home planet again, and are any of these science stations? I'm not sure if they will be. Power plant, farm. Maybe I didn't build any yet. Let's try a different planet. This one. No, I've only just colonised this planet, so not much going on there yet. This one. much going on here either. Okay, so there's no real science thing yet. I mean, I could put, what is that one? Oh yeah, so here's one, basic science lab. So this is making the physics, the society and the engineering. So obviously the more planets that you colonize, the more science labs you can build, and then obviously that increases all of these. You can upgrade over time as well. Once you've researched them, you can upgrade. And then, so for example here I could upgrade to make that facility create 2 engineering instead of 1, or 2 physics. So this tile originally would have had 1 physics on it, so the science lab is producing 1 extra, which makes a total of 2. Then to make that plus 2 would actually make the tile plus 3 physics, if that makes sense. So that's that. Then there's research. So you have 3 scientists. 3 scientists researching your physics, society and engineering, which is obviously related to these numbers. And throughout the game you research more and more things. There isn't really a tech tree like in Civ, so decisions you make here can have sort of longer, like Civ, I mean they'll have effects further on down the line, but it's not immediately obvious what decisions you're making and where they will end up, because there's no specific tree. You can see a list of what you researched per thing, so that's physics, society, engineering. So that's the research side of things. Excuse me. Situation log. This is where we got our kind of quests and missions of what to do, which help you through the start of the game for sure, which gives you ideas of how to do things. So it's tutorial missions and various missions in the game to explore and discover aliens or other races and that kind of thing. Sectors, I don't know if I should really touch on sectors. Sectors are essentially a way that you can, if I owned a number of planets, I could sort of basically say Botine, I can't do Yadra because it's my own planet, but I could put Tem and Botine and maybe Suth into a single sector. The purpose of doing that would be, right now, Nocturne is governed by 1 guy. Terdaga isn't governed by anyone. Bondoga isn't governed by anyone. Aldara doesn't have a governor. Neither does this one. Okay, but what you can do is you can set a governor per planet, and the governor per planet will make the decisions on improving those tiles as best as he sees fit. But what you can do in terms of a sector, you could bunch those planets together and say, well, just have 1 governor to rule multiple planets. Why would you do that instead of having a governor on each planet? Well, the reason is this number up here, directly controlled planets. We can effectively control 5 planets. Now a sector in that case would be counted as a planet, so if right now I'm directly controlling 5 planets. If I assigned 4 of them to a sector and put a governor in charge, then I would only have 1 controlled planet, and you can only have a number of, let me go to my empires tab, leaders tab. So the planets tab here, this is listing my planets. There's my 5 planets. Leaders tab, so this is where I can only have a maximum of 10 leaders. So you must have scientists, you must have 3 scientists to do your research, plus scientists need to be on the research vessels which go out and explore the galaxy. So that's why I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scientists. Admirals are on the military ships, and they are useful because they collect XP, and then they give bonuses to the military fleets. And then governors here. So of course, because I've already got 8 leaders, I can only recruit 2 more governors. And obviously with 4 more planets that I need to govern, I would then be missing 2 planets. So if I bunched all those planets into one sector, I could just put 1 governor in charge of them, and that would be good. Contacts. So contacts is when you come across other races. So as the robot was about to say, this is our kind of our diplomacy screen from Civ. We can see other races that we've met, and you can see like some kind of fungus guy, another mammalian species, molluscoid. It looks like a spider, although it says fungoid. And you have relationships with these, and you communicate with them, and you trade, much in the same way as you would in Civ as well. I haven't really got into that too much, to be honest. But this is their opinion of you, so yeah, these guys don't seem to like me much. And here you can see, what's this? Rivals. Oh, they've called me as a rival. Okay, great. Their power is overwhelming, the naval capacity is overwhelming, their technology level is superior. Brilliant. So they might wipe me out at some point. And they're hostile towards me. Great. They're xenophobic as opposed to me as a xenophile, also militaristic, and they're spiritualistic as opposed to materialistic, which I was. So they're kind of the opposite of me in a couple of these. I guess that's why they hate me. And what else is there? Well, there's the ship designer. In here, this is a little bit like, well, there isn't anything in Civ quite like this. This is almost like designing your own army. Let me shut this guy up. So you come with the default design for your corvette, for example, or a destroyer class, or whichever. So if you wanted to build a new type of corvette, so you see here, this was the default one, and this is one that I built, basically designed it. So by doing that, you can sort of select the shape of it and how many gun emplacements it has. So 3 small emplacements, 1 small, 1 medium, or 1 small, and then utility slots, which is on the bottom here. So the default corvette has 1 small red laser and 1 medium red laser. My version that I built has 1 small red laser, 1 small blue laser, but that's a level 2 one, which does a little bit more damage than the red one, I believe. Yeah, you can see it's damage 5 to 10, whereas the blue one is damage 6 to 12. And then also a small autocannon at the back of the ship. So the idea is overall that ship, I called it a multi-tank class, overall power 7, damage 5.95, compared to the default one, which has a damage of only 4.94. So basically the one I designed has a greater damage. So you can kind of fill around and play and build different ships, and as you do lots more research, you uncover a lot more types of weapons. So here I can show you red and blue lasers, but I've also got torpedoes and various other things. In my other game I've actually got a much bigger list of weapons, including level 3 purple lasers, nuclear missiles, and various other things. So you can build a lot more powerful ships later in the game. You also choose like their engine, the default AI essentially, more engine and radar. there's only one option for each of them right there, but as you research more throughout the game, you uncover more and more to improve your ship. The final point is just around what you can add to it down here in terms of power from the fission reactor. You can research different types of reactors, armour and deflectors. Now of course the more things you fit, if I was to put armour, notice the power is 7, if I was to put armour on this, no, that's not actually quite what I expected to happen. What about deflectors? Yeah, okay. So I put the deflectors on, and now you can see that my power has gone to -2, so that the ship wouldn't move. So that's why it's best to keep an eye on this as well, and then you have to add in more and more weapons, reactors to give you more power to drive the ship, essentially. So that's the ship builder. The final bit I suppose I just want to touch on is just this panel on the right hand side. So as I just pointed to a little bit earlier, this is kind of a quick list to everything that is in my entire race of whatever I call my race, everything that we own basically. So I've got my home planet of Nocturne, and then the 4 planets which I've colonised. This will take me quickly to give me the tab on the left hand side for each planet. Then my 2 military fleets. Click on them and it will tell me where they are. And then I can quickly zoom to where they are in the systems as well. And then the various ships that I own, so science ships 1 and 2, construction ships 1 and 2. And finally observation post. So observation post, let's have a quickly look at him. So the observation post is set above this planet here, Firm Regand. This is kind of like I'd almost say there's nothing quite like Civ in this one as well. It's almost like city-states, but not really, because these are planets which already exist, that are already habited by aliens, except they're not spacefaring aliens, because otherwise they would have their own race, such as the Grok-Nabloran Union or the Buhalavillier Star State. These guys are, if I click on the planet, so we can see here it's given the description. This civilization is currently the equivalent of a steam age. The invention of the steam engine has had far-reaching effects on their society, and they stand on the cusp of an industrial revolution. So they're essentially back in the 1800s comparison. So we can't do much of them right now. What we could do, of course, I suppose, is, which I haven't done, and this is where the part of the game I haven't used yet much, is I guess I'd be able to build a fleet, an attacking fleet of an army, and then drop them down onto this planet, wipe out the people in the Middle Ages still, and then hopefully colonise the planet for myself. I guess that's how it works. I don't actually know. Yeah, because obviously if I could do that, I'd be able to get access to some of these resources as well. So that's a very brief overview. If I just hit play for a minute and see what happens. We're losing balance. I've got an inactive building. That would be this one here. Do we have any population that's not busy doing something? No. So what we really need is more people on this planet. It's +2, so people will grow eventually, but currently that power plant has to stand empty. So this kind of thing happens quite a lot. It pops up with a little bit of a story So as one of our science vessels passed through the asteroid belt on its way to another star, science officer reported that the ship experienced a number of sudden gravitational shifts. Ever curious, Jarim Den Tarob dispatched a number of probes to scan the debris field to discern the cause. It turns out that the culprit is a number of gravity generators of old alien make, sputtering on dying energy sources, and with their polarites inverted, they occasionally spew reverse gravity into the void, though not with enough force to cause any serious harm. Not anymore. Science officer Jerem Den Tarob theorizes that the generators once provided artificial gravity for a large asteroid in the belt, but some malfunction eventually tore the rock apart. A disturbing thought. So little bits of story like that pop up all the time to kind of keep you involved and to give you things to do. That one didn't give me anything to do, but sometimes you'll get that kind of thing, and it'll be a research special has to go and research whatever, like they may find an anomaly, go and research it and that kind of thing. So let me pause it again. So obviously the bigger part of the game, which I haven't come to on this particular save, is if I zoom out a little bit more, there's the entire galaxy. So obviously I'm quite a small part of it, but there are races all over it. And what must have to happen is eventually you constantly build up your army. I don't know if there's a way to win this game that doesn't revolve around invasion. I'm not sure if there is at this point. So essentially the most effective method of expanding your empire once you reach the borders and you can't expand anymore, which I've got a little bit way to go here yet, but in my other game has happened and I don't have anywhere left to go. I just have to build a big fuck off army of massive space battle fleets and laser beam the shit out of aliens. And that will happen eventually. But it hasn't happened yet in this game. I think they'll probably introduce other victory conditions in time, but right now I think invasion is basically the only one, or certainly the best one to take. So that's it really. Hopefully you caught that. I don't know if that all made sense, but you might have to rewatch it maybe. Maybe I talked too fast. But yeah, see what you think.